Hey everybody, my name is Haley Hernandez and I will be doing my presentation on state courts versus federal courts. Where's your interest? Have you ever thought about discrimination against religious employees? Has anyone taken a photo professionally? Have you ever thought about starting your own business? If you have thought about starting your own business, there are legal implications that go into it. In my presentation, we'll talk about the things that you may need to be responsible for when you start your business. Current events. There was a case in 2006 where Elaine Photography refused to photograph a same-sex commitment ceremony because it violated their First Amendment rights of religion. Elaine explained that it does not refuse customers because of their sex orientation, but rather the message that conflicts with their religious beliefs. And this would be when they were taking such a picture at the ceremony. They were found guilty of discrimination in the New Mexico State Court, and the case is currently being taken to the Supreme Court. Another case was with Abercrombie that was guilty of religious discrimination. A girl named Elof wore a headpiece for religious reasons and was not hired because she did not fit the look. The look was that employees were to wear no black or no hats. Abercrombie was found guilty, but the case is now being taken to the Supreme Court. It is being taken to the Supreme Court because it did not win for religious discrimination because she did not explicitly say that she was wearing a headpiece for religious reasons, even though it was assumed. Now we are going to take a look at the state court powers where these cases first started. The police power states have don't arise from the Constitution because they legislate on matters within their territorial jurisdiction. Just as well, public policy assumes the superiority of social over individual rights. Now we are going to take a look at federal courts because that's where these cases are going next. Powers of the federal government have been interpreted broadly, which creates an overlap with state authority. This enlarges the powers of Congress and can enforce what the state courts do not. So although there may be an overlap between state and federal courts can still rule what they want to. Here we have that the overall legal issue is that religion versus discrimination among state courts versus federal courts. My scholarly analysis of the New Mexico case that's being taken to Supreme Court is that when Elaine Photography takes their case to the federal court, they would most likely get the same answer because of the overlap that the state court took into consideration. With their moral conscience, they should be able to choose moral norms for their business, which would in turn give them their conscience-driven provider or consumer that wishes to use their service. Liberty was found to include freedom to contact and to engage in business. I interpret this as to go along with the 14th Amendment of freedom that people should have within their own business. Elaine Photography should have it in writing that they would not take such pictures. Continuing on with the New Mexico case, according to Casper, the court is least likely to be successful in blocking a determined and persistent lawmaking majority on a major policy and most likely to succeed against a weak majority. For the New Mexico case, it has become a pro same-sex unions, it is more likely that the federal court will stay in favor of the same-sex couple. So because the state is for same-sex unions, it will not be a weak majority. My scholarly analysis of the Abercrombie case is that I think it is more likely that the court will rule in favor of religious people because Abercrombie was ignorant of religion, the Muslim religion in this case, because of the headpieces, which could be considered as discrimination. The Equal Employment Opportunity Act is one of the biggest cases that should protect this case for Elouf against Abercrombie. In conclusion, the relationship among state and federal law is the result of resolving matters among people living in interdependence. Federal and state courts do tend to overlap one another with their powers, but the federal courts can enforce what state courts cannot. These are my references. This is one page, and this is the next page. And that's all. I hope you all have a great day.